Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on this Thursday, September 26th. Happy to have you guys in for another episode of the Primetime program. We are talking about two position groups that must improve before the Miami Dolphins Monday night football game. We got the first game of the week up tonight between the Cowboys at the Giants. And of course, the Titans will not be the last game of the weekend or the football week, because there is a later game on Monday night than their game. But even still, we have much to discuss, much to dive into, and a couple of position groups that absolutely, without question, have to improve if this team is going to win football games, a football game, before it goes into its Week 5 bye. We will go through those position groups together. We will talk about them at length. You will hear from the necessary parties involved, and then we will put a bow on it before Thursday Night Football begins, or right around the time that Thursday Night Football kicks off, for the weekend bounce back heading into this weekend of football. The Vols don't play. The Titans are off until Monday, so you will get to be blissfully, you'll just sit back and enjoy all the football playing around you and not have the stress of your two teams playing, assuming that most of you are Vols and Titans fans. Nate Samuel says, right tackle and defensive end, you're welcome. Well, you're on the right track, but certainly we have a little more to dive into with that, because they're talking about an open competition at right tackle that will be apparently going on as recently as tomorrow, when they'll make a decision on this, which sounds a bit sketchy to me, but we'll have you make your own determinations based on what Nick Holtz had to say. You'll also hear from Arden Key and Nicholas Petit-Frere throughout the course of the broadcast. Before we get started, I need you guys to share the show around Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch. Wherever you are hanging out with us, please retweet the show in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen if Twitter is your preferred method of streaming. If you're on YouTube or Twitch, like John Parker, I see Nate Samuels, I see Tom Wishaw, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. If you're on Facebook Live, like Jody Newell, I see Corey D. Jackson and Guy Mann on Facebook Live, make sure you like the video, share now to public. That is in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. Once you've done that, more of you guys will continue to trickle in, and we'll go ahead and get this bad boy started. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time from the Zen Sports studio. I'm your host, Buck Rising. I'm proud, as always, to be presented to you by Zen Sports. Download the app, plug in the promo code ATOZTN, get up to $100 on your no danger first wager at zensports.com. By TrueMap Fitness in the Gulch. TrueMap Fitness is your best place to get your workout in. No workout ever recycled or repeated. In fact, I'll be there tomorrow morning at TrueMap Fitness. Your first workout is free as a Middle Tennessee resident. And, of course, you have Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Go to Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com for more information. Jody Newell says NPF was better than Duncan. Duncan looked like a left tackle Sunday. No, Duncan didn't look like a left tackle. J.C. Latham looked like a left tackle. Duncan looks like a player that belongs squarely on the bench, and NPF probably does too. But the point is, NPF is the better option, and Duncan does not have any business as a starting offensive lineman right now. But the fact that NPF is even putting that discussion on the table for us is something that is very much in question. So that's as good a place to start as any as you explore the different positions that are killing this team. Right tackle is at the top of the list. You probably have some questions about the edge rush group right now, where Arden Key has actually been a more efficient pass rusher, according to some metrics, than even Harold Landry, which is not exactly the kind of sign that you want to see, because neither of them are necessarily lighting it up from a box score standpoint. But with everything that's going on, let's start with the right tackle, because the offensive line is the thing that's most important to getting this team right. It's the most important thing to solving the quarterback problem. It's the most important thing to solving the turnover problem that this team is currently having. So I'll ask you this way: which is the best right tackle option for the Titans going to Miami on Sunday? You can say NPF, you can say Jalen Duncan, you can say a player that we haven't talked about just yet. We'll get into it together, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch in the comments section, while I remind you that your Two Rivers Ford take is made possible by the South's most trusted Ford dealer, Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet, or online at tworiversford.com. No matter how you like to shop, Two Rivers always puts you in position to succeed. Two Rivers is the best in the business. That's why they've been around for over 4 decades here in Middle Tennessee. Your Ford Bronco headquarters and the South's most trusted Ford dealer is Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet. So, what's the best option at right tackle at this point? Harry Wells on Facebook Live says NPF hands down. Jackie Holbert with actually the correct response, saying they're both a liability. And Herndon says, is Brad Hopkins busy? Can he come out of retirement? Well, Brad was a left tackle, but I understand your point. He was a certified ass kicker during his time. And, at least I know that Brad Hopkins has some pride about the way that he goes about doing his job, or did go about doing his job. But B-Hop is also, probably 100 pounds less than his playing days. I can't believe Brad played at 330. He said that the other day on the pregame show. That's wild to me. That Brad is not, I'm 6'2". Brad's probably 6'4". And the idea of there being 120 pounds, not even 120 pounds, more than 120 pounds of human being on Brad Hopkins, more than he's carrying around right now, is pretty crazy. Jack Conklin will suffice. Yeah, that would have been nice. But Jack's not had the healthiest tenure as a Cleveland Brown. And also, they're the worst offensive line in football through 3 weeks. They're worse than you are right now. So I don't know that I would want anybody off the Cleveland Browns at this point. Patriot Funding Solutions says Taylor Lewan would be better at this point. Yeah, he probably would be. But also Taylor's not officially retired, but Taylor is pretty much retired. And that is, not a viable solution. I can't imagine how many of you were dissatisfied with the Lewan experience and now you would kill. Well, actually, it's not even left tackle, right? Like, JC's not the problem. We're not talking about the left tackle. The left tackle, I'm not worried about at all. I really am not. I think Bill Callahan drafted the right player. I think that they ultimately are going to have their solution. Whether he ends up being an all-pro or not, I have no idea. But, he's a fine left tackle already. 3 games into his NFL career. Will he have moments where he still gets got? Sure. He's going to face good pass rushers for the rest of his football career. But as long as that dude stays healthy, I'm not going to say 0% concerned about him, but I've got like a 5% concern level with J.C. Latham as the left tackle, given everything else that you have to be concerned about on this offensive line. So the answer to the question is Nicholas Petit-Frere. Petit-Frere is the best option at right tackle right now. Now, that's unfortunate for you because he is getting his ass kicked on a regular basis, and that is not something that Titans fans are very excited about. This was NPF after the Green Bay game, where, again, he gave up critical pressures in critical moments.
Why is that happening differently?
No, that's the big question. I'm trying to figure out why as well. So, obviously, I haven't figured that out yet. This week is a lot of soul searching for me to figure out why. I did have moments in camp where I was growing and improving, and I was hoping that towards going into the season, I would feel the same way, but that hasn't connected yet, so got to find a way.
If you look outside of just yourself to the entire unit, 8 sacks allowed for you guys, what do you feel like is going wrong for the group as a whole that has not been able to protect Will up to this point in the season?
I'm not doing my job. That's what I'm going to say about the group of the unit, is that I'm not doing my job, so it's not helping Dylan, and then it's not helping Cush, and it's not helping Pete, and it's not helping JC. Although we're O-line, we're a team, I need to be accountable for myself and do my job. And I feel like that's something that's hurting us. So I take full accountability. I know a lot of people say that O-line's all 5 and whatever, but there comes a point where you have to take accountability for yourself and what you do and what you're producing, and I take accountability, and I think it's not good enough. It's bad, and I need to figure out why that's bad and what to do to fix it.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. A to Z Sports Primetime is presented by the wonderful people at TrueMath Fitness in the Gulch. Your first workout is free as a Middle Tennessee resident. No workout ever recycled or repeated at TrueMathFitness.com. Personal training, group fitness classes, just an open gym that's the best in the business available to you. Go to TrueMathFitness.com for that first workout free. So that's Nicholas Petit-Frere speaking in the locker room after the Green Bay Packers game. He is, can anybody guess? Bert, you don't look like you're doing anything important other than picking your nose and playing video games. Take a guess out of 200 qualified tackles where Nicholas Petit-Frere ranks according to Pro Football Focus. You want to take a guess?
196.
Incorrect. 184. You gave him more. Yeah, I'm giving him. I guess you're sleeping on NPF. Shame on you. Among 100, among 200 qualified tackles, 200 qualified offensive linemen, not 200 qualified tackles. NPF grades out, according to Pro Football Focus, 184 out of 200. He has allowed 13 total pressures. He has allowed, let's see, do we have 9 quarterback hurries? We have 1 quarterback hit, and we have how many sacks for NPF? We have NPF graded with allowing 3 total sacks, having played nearly 100% of the snaps. He gets a 52.4 grade overall. He gets a 58.8 grade as a run blocker. He gets a much worse grade as a pass protector. He grades out at 47.4. He is ranked between Kevin Dotson of the LA Rams, who are, of course, famously struggling, and Frank Ragnow, the center for the Detroit Lions, who has been injured and struggling through the early part of the season. So NPF 184 out of qualified 200 players. Curtis would have said 113. Jody Newell says 176. Yeah, it's bad. Either way, it's bad. So he is a player that is talented. He is a player that is not skilled, and that is the crux of the issue. NPF is talented enough to be a third-round draft pick in the NFL. He's talented enough to play at Ohio State. He's talented enough to be one of the highest ranked recruits coming out of high school. There is no question that Nicholas Petit-Frere is a talented player, but at the NFL level, everybody's talented. Everybody's talented. Even the practice squad guys have talent, right? They're the most talented players from their respective hometowns. They're the best football players that they're, that some of them in the state, some of them in the country. Like these are all high-level athletes, no matter how they get there. You have to be a high-level athlete to make it to the NFL. They're the top 1% of the top 1%. So Nicholas Petit-Frere meets that qualification. The question is, can they get him coached up from a technical standpoint that will allow him to win? That has not been the case to date. It's been 3 different offensive line coaches with Nick Petit-Frere. It's been Keith Carter, Jason Hoteling, and now O-line Jesus. And all 3 of them have, ostensibly, I'm not going to say that they failed in trying to get the best out of NPF, because NPF right now is the one that's failing. So that is a player that has to get it together. The problem is he's the only option that they have. Jalen Duncan is not viable. Leroy Watson, if he was good enough when they brought him in, he would have beat NPF out. Jerron Christian didn't even make it through training camp, right? So they tried other options. They brought in competition, and NPF was the best available of them, and turns out that the best available of them is still not good enough. Jonathan Caverly says Brunskill. No, Brunskill is Daniel Brunskill is a player that you want on your roster because he's very intelligent. He's good in a meeting room. He can play. He can function at all 5 positions, but he's not good at any of the 5 positions. And that's, I'm not. I don't want to sound like I'm burying Brunskill, but like, guard was definitely the better position for him. He's not equipped to be a tackle. If you have to play him a tackle, you just sustained significant injuries. And just because he's done it before doesn't mean that you want to see him do it again. That should be a break glass in case of emergency. If, God forbid, if NPF season ends and Jalen Duncan season ends and Leroy Watson season ends, then okay, maybe you play Brunskill or Radens at tackle, right? Because you absolutely have to. But those 2 players are not tackles. Jonathan says he has played right tackle. I know, and he was bad at it. Just because he's played the position doesn't mean that he's good. It's like Dylan Radens. Dylan Radens has played right tackle. Is he good at right tackle? No, he's not good at right tackle. He's better as a guard. Again, 3 different offensive line coaches, including the best offensive line coach going, have told you that Brunskill is best as a backup center, and that you have a situation with NPF. They're swatting at cats in the middle of the primetime show because one's yowling in the office. Did I go off camera, Bert? Did I duck off camera? I thought I got him while successfully staying on screen, but perhaps not. I just had to flick one in the nose to get him to shut up.
Would you like me to run a distraction for you?
No, it's too late now. We've rectified the situation. If I have to get out the spray bottle, then I'll get out the spray bottle. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But by the way, Bert, your cat's sitting on Monday. I don't know if anybody told you while I'm in Miami. So great job out of you, and I appreciate your time and effort. Get off my screen. So with everything that's going on right now, just kidding. You don't have the cat sit. With everything that's going on,
who's watching the cats? You need to tell me if I'm watching the cats.
Yeah, you're probably watching the cats. Grace is not going to be indisposed on Monday for the normal cat sitting function.
Love you, Moon.
Get off the screen. Jackie Hulbert says, Buck, do you want a new cat? My wife's got 6 kittens. No, I'm currently working with Pet Community Center because two kittens just showed up in my backyard, and I have to now get them. I've never used a humane trap before, but I'm going to a workshop on Saturday at 12:30 to learn how to trap a cat so that I can take it to Pet Community Center and get it, rabies shots and spayed or neutered. I don't know if it's a boy or a girl, but I don't want more kittens in the backyard. We want absolutely nothing to do with that, even though they are sweet and gentle creatures and wonderful creatures. The inn is full at the Rising Estate. No more cats. There are more cats in this house than human beings. That is not a sustainable method. Anyway, so with everything happening with the offensive line situation, if Bill Callahan wanted Chris Hubbard, for example, many of you have brought up Chris Hubbard. They have said they haven't been asked specifically about Chris Hubbard. And also, they don't make they do have some say, obviously, in personnel decisions. But if Bill Callahan wanted Chris Hubbard off the Niners practice squad, he would be here. He has worked with Chris Hubbard before. So clearly, he thinks that he can salvage NPF. Who am I to doubt him? Other than, through 3 games, NPF, well, more through 2 games. They were fine in Chicago. Like, the right side was fine in Chicago. The left side was objectively awful. And that is something that, the Skoronski thing is weird. I don't know. I really don't know what they do with Peter Skoronski at this point. I'm not going to give up on him because he's the 11th overall pick in last year's draft. So you need that guy to play and play well, but he's, for taking a guard in the top 15, he better damn be Quentin Nelson, and he's not, at least, so far. But I really, he's the more perplexing one to me, honestly. I can't figure out why that's going so wrong when he has given up the most, or when he was the one that gave up the most pressures in the Green Bay Packers game. Robert Lehue says, I can bring a trap. All you have to do is put a can of tuna fish in it. I'll give you the trap. I appreciate that, Robert, but the Pet Community Center loans them out to people. So we will see. Speaking of Moon, Bert, I don't know if you can hear in the background. She's downstairs and screaming. So I'm sure all is well in the downstairs of my home at this point. Either way, no more cats, no more traps. We're talking right tackles, damn it. A to Z Sports Primetime is presented by the Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage. Go to GaryAshton.com. Get your dream address without the stress. Preds hockey is almost back. In fact, they're doing preseason games right now. Training camp for the Preds is open, and the official real estate agent of the Nashville Predators is GaryAshton.com. So with a lot of fantasy football jokes being made in the chat. Mike McCown says NPF was picking his fantasy lineup when that strip fumble play happened. Yes, Jonathan Ertl says, wonder if NPF plays the defense team on his fantasy team that is playing the Titans that week. He would be smart to, because the defenses have had success against the Titans offense. Browning Casey says you should live stream the cat catching. I thought about putting it on TikTok, but also that feels like a good way to end up with rabies or at least a scratch across my face. And I don't think that is going to be something that I'm going to want to do. I'll consider it. Maybe I turn into the turtle man of feral cats on TikTok. Who's to say? And then I'll retire on all my TikTok money and leave covering an 0-3 football team in the dust. But, I am under contract for the foreseeable future. So you're stuck with me and I'm stuck with you. But Nick Holtz speaking today at the podium about the right tackle situation. This was the Titans offensive coordinator earlier this morning.
Yeah, well, they both have also been getting reps leading up to this. So, it hasn't been Nick taking all the reps anyways. Those guys always roll. But really the big day is tomorrow. We'll be in full pads. Kind of everybody's, can block in with no pads on and kind of, I would have had him, and those kind of things, see the hand placement things. But it's hard to evaluate that. So tomorrow will be a big day, and they'll get a bunch of live-ish situations, and the guy that plays the best will kind of take the job. And Nick, I know he wants some plays back, and JD does too, and so they just got to kind of keep growing, and it's what we got.
That is not reassuring. That the guy that practices the best in pads on Friday is the guy that's going to get the starting right tackle job for the team. Now, Brian Callahan said both of them can play. I don't know if that makes you feel better. I don't know if that makes you feel worse. I guess you appreciate that they're willing to adapt. It's like the Dennis Daly thing, right? You remember how long the Titans rode out Dennis Daly as the left tackle, and then when they finally made a change in like week 14 or week 13, that Los Angeles Chargers game at SoFi, I was there. They started Dylan Radins, and he played a little better. He wasn't great, but he was better than Daly was at left tackle. And then Radins, like 15 snaps into the game, tore his ACL, done for the year. And you throw your hands up in the air because I got to go right back to Dennis Daly. So it's a less than satisfactory situation. Tom Wishaw says no Duncan plays. Well, if Duncan has a better practice than NPF on Friday, apparently he's going to play right tackle against the Dolphins. So yeah, I mean that's just what it is. Taylor S. Hurst says, you have a job many of us can only dream about, Buck, getting paid to talk sports when I do it for free all the time. It's true. I know it. I am incredibly lucky to be paid money by two different companies to talk sports on a regular basis. And better than that, I get to live in Nashville, Tennessee, which is my favorite city in the country. I love it here. I'm coming up on, in May, it will be 10 years. 10 years is crazy. 10 years. That I've been living in Nashville. This is my 8th NFL season, full NFL season since I started covering the team. So yeah, like I said, I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world, even if your football team makes me want to scream and be violent at times watching them play, particularly offensive football. Offensive football with the Tennessee Titans has been brutal. Alex Heilman says, it's that radio voice? Yes, that's the only reason I have a job. That's it. It was funny. You remember when that Jeff clip of me and Jeff getting into it at training camp went viral? I think one of the funnier parts of all that was seeing the amount of comments on like Barstool and TMZ and stuff like that about what I hate about that guy. That's not his real voice. He's using his fake broadcaster voice. When in reality, I have to tell people, no, this is just actually what I sound like, and that's why I'm employed. Pretty much, it's not for my sports knowledge, not for my looks, not for my delivery. I'm certainly not a broadcast professional. No, it's just because I sound this way, as far as I can tell. Anyway, it's a great gig if you can get it. Paying my mortgage with this bad boy, so we love to see it. Anyway, edge rush. That's the next place that we have to talk about, because those are the two position groups that absolutely have to improve for this football team to win games. With everything that's going on, there is Curator says somehow Buck always seems to bring his employment to the show every day. Yes, because I question my life decisions every day. I watch you score 16 points per game. That's why that comes up on a regular basis. So yeah, your football team needs to win a game, and I'll stop talking about my job viability. Anyway, edge rush. How the Titans can improve with the pass rush and how they're going about it. Who's the best who's the Titans' best pass rusher this season? Let me know on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, because it's a harder question to answer than you might imagine. I can tell you who's leading them in sacks, but that doesn't necessarily lend itself to being the best pass rusher, because if you're getting sacks, sometimes you're just cleaning somebody else's pass rush up. So who's the best pass rusher on the Tennessee Titans right now? We'll talk about it together. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch in the comment section, while I remind you that the Primetime program is made possible by the wonderful people at Zen Sports. Download the app, plug in the promo code ATOZTN. Get up to $100 on your no danger first wager. Terms and conditions do apply. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789. Must be 21 plus and in the state of Tennessee to bet at Zen Sports. Who's the best pass rusher on the Titans right now? Jody Newell says turn Adams loose. You're talking about Jamal Adams, the guy that missed a tackle that would have had a tight end getting a 1-yard gain turning into a 21-yard gain? No, thank you. I'm all set on the Jamal Adams experience. Defense needs more time than 3 and out. That's a fair point. Absolutely. The offense not being able to sustain drives is a problem for this football team, in particular, a problem for this defense. Ken Caniff says Sweat makes a lot of things easier for the other players on the defensive line. That is also true. But they're not a good pass rush group, right? So it's not enough that Sweat does make life easier on the rest of them, but we haven't seen overwhelming dividends of that yet. There have been flashes where you can clearly tell that they are the beneficiary of one another, whether it's Jeff, whether it's Sweat, whether it's Harold, or what have you. But I will pull up the Titans pass rush percentage right now, because it is really, really underwhelming at this point with everything that's happening with this football team. Sacks across the league, by the way, are up, and that is not necessarily translated to the Titans at this point. In fact, it's funny because all four AFC South teams are struggling with different issues. But the thing that stands out to me in particular is that when you look at, for example, now it may not be just sacks, because right now Harold Landry has the most sacks on the team, but sacks don't necessarily mean that Harold is winning as a one-on-one pass rusher. And it was interesting to see this ESPN analytics and NFL Next Gen Stats analysis of pass rushing rates at edge and where guys are succeeding. So there's a double team rate, line, and there's a pass rush win rate line. And honestly, Arden Key is grading out as the more efficient pass rusher among edge guys, right? This is specific to edge, so it's not Jeff, it's not Sweat in the middle of this. But Arden Key is close to guys like Matthew Judon of the Falcons, Will McDonald of the Jets, and Greg Rousseau of the Bills, where Harold Landry is in not great company around George Karlaftis, Sam Hubbard. Byron Young is grading out as a more efficient pass rusher. Guys that are less efficient than him are somebody named Michael Dana. I don't know who the hell that guy is. Rashawn Gary and Kayvon Thibodeau. So he's not the only person of note who is lower on this pass rush win rate graph than you would expect. But Arden is seeing more double teamed looks and also winning at a higher rate than Harold Landry is, which is pretty surprising. Because long story short, the Titans, Dana is a Chiefs defensive end, says Bert. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Either way, it's bad news bears, respectfully, to Arden Key if he's the best pass rusher on the team, because Arden has moments, and Arden has done what Arden Key always does. He's flashed, certainly in situations, whether he's swatting balls down or getting pressures that other guys are cleaning up, or forcing, helping force run stuffs and things of that nature. All of that is important, and Arden Key does his job at a relatively good level, but it's not good enough for an NFL pass rush, especially an NFL pass rush group that is going to need to be leaned more heavily on given the offensive struggles.
Some guys start fast and then go slow. Last year I started fast, had a little lull, and then picked it up towards the end. This year I'm having a little slow start, so, man, it all comes.
You want to be a guy that helps the defense heat up, though, I would imagine?
Yes.
You don't want to wait on the defense to heat up and get you going.
Either I'll take it however it comes.
In terms of that, Bernard says you've been doing well. He's pleased with what you're doing.
Yeah.
Are you pleased with what's been put on tape and also what's on the stat sheet?
Yeah, I think I got more tackles and sacks now and pressures. Just getting back to the pass rush. Just talking to different coaches that coached me up, especially this past week, and we figured out some things on how to think.
Who'd you talk to?
I can't tell you that.
How has it been working with Ben specifically? Has he helped you add anything particularly to your game?
Yeah, working with Ben is good. He's been around the league a lot. He's coached at Dallas with all those great rushes over there, coached at the Browns with all those great rushes over there. So he brings a little what Dallas did and what Cleveland did here.
So that's Arden Key speaking with us today in the locker room after practice. Arden Key right now, again, Pro Football Focus is not the end-all be-all, but it is a good way for us to evaluate. He's grading out of qualified players that have gotten a pass rush snap, right? So that could be edges, That could be inside linebackers. That could be safeties. That could be defensive line. Among defenders, top to bottom, across all positions that have a pass rush snap, Arden Key is grading out 192 out of a possible 200. Out of 200 qualified players, he's got 4 pressures on the year. Then if I go to Landry, for Harold, it is a little better. But in fact, Pro Football Focus is not even registering Harold Landry. When I go to command F him, he's not showing up on the qualified pass rushers. So again, Arden Key has more pressures, but Harold Landry has not been as effective as this team needs him to be. Now on page 1 of 3, if I went to page 2 of 3, perhaps I could find Harold Landry again. This is he's 377th. 377th among qualified pass rush players in terms of how he's winning. His total pressures, again, he's got more total pressures, Harold Landry does. He has 7 to Arden's 4, and he does have 1 sack on the year, but it's slow. 3 sacks on the year, 7 pressures. So statistically, he is performing. He is more noticeable in the box score. But as far as winning, pass rush win rate, where he is beating his man one-on-one, he grades out significantly lower than than Arden Key at this point. Now, I can pull up the Jeff numbers while we're here, and in fact, I can see where Devondre Sweat, if Harold Landry is 277, Sweat is 205. I would imagine that Jeffrey Simmons, let's see where Jeffrey ranks, if he's on page number 1 or page number 2. He's been getting a lot of double teams and even in moments triple teams. I don't think Jeff is on the first 2 pages of this. That is concerning. Jeff Simmons is 470th, according to Pro Football Focus, with 2 total pressures on the season. He's got 1 sack and 1 hurry. That is not what you want to see. He's around Shai Tuttle and Kader Kohu, who is a corner from the Miami Dolphins. So again, this is among all qualified defenders, but Jeff Simmons at 470th, according to how they grade out as a pass rusher. Not what you want to see. Now, is that grade what the team would grade him at, or what maybe the Dolphins coaching staff might grade him out at? No, we know Jeff is a good player and that he's attracting a lot of attention right now. But you need guys to win when Jeff is getting a lot of that attention, because right now they're finding ways to neutralize the pass rush, especially to neutralize the pass rush on the inside. Aren't pressures the better judge of pass rush? Well, Jackie, so team pass rush, sacks is the best way to look at it. Like as a team, how often do you affect the quarterback? Total sacks, you can still do it that way. As an individual player, as an individual pass rusher, pressures are the better way to evaluate them, because you can have a pressure and create a sack for another player, right? But as a team, sacks are still a good unit of measurement. As an individual, pressures are what you want to see. And you're not seeing much pressure at all from this Titans defensive front at this point. Less than ideal. Weekend bounce back. Who needs to bounce back most in sports? On Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch. In the comments section, let me know. And while you do, I will remind you about just a special offer that we have going on for you right now for the next 2 days. Next 2 primetime shows, as a matter of fact, and that is courtesy of Factor Meals, who offer you such great resources, including all kinds of fresh, nutritious, satisfying, ready-to-go meals for you. They will make sure that you get all kinds of nutrition. You can crush your wellness goals this month with dietitian-approved meals and ingredients that you can trust. It is from breakfast to dessert. It's easy to stay fueled with easy, nutritious options, courtesy of Factor Meals. So head to factormeals.com/ATOZ50. Use code ATOZ50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's ATOZ50 at factormeals.com/ATOZ50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. Factor Meals, great tasting meals, fresh, nutritious, and satisfying. So with everything that's happening this week, who needs to bounce back the most? Devin Mills says Bryce Young needs to bounce back, but I'm not sure that happens in a Panthers jersey. Yeah, Andy Dalton looked great. I mean, the Panthers, honestly, if you ask me which team was better between the Panthers and the Titans right now, I'd say the Panthers. Panthers' offensive line group is better. Panthers have more reliable quarterback play. Right now, I know it's only through one game, but Andy Dalton is getting ready to face the Cincinnati Bengals defense this year. And normally that might sound like a tough task with Lou Anarumo as the coordinator, but the Bengals defense this year sucks. Now, could they be better and beat Andy Dalton and, make me eat my words and all these other things? Sure, but they made Jaden Daniels look like an all-pro in his first rookie road game in a big spot in prime time. So Andy Dalton and the Carolina Panthers are a better offensive unit, certainly. I don't know about a defensive unit. I can't say that I've watched a ton of Panthers defense, but right now they are the better football team at this point. They certainly have a win, which is something that this team has yet to establish. Steve Jones says New York City Mayor Eric Adams. Yeah, he's caught up in a corruption case right now, which is pretty interesting to document if you've been paying attention to the world of news and specifically politics. Of course, we are getting ready to go through an election cycle, so I'm sure everybody will be calm and reserved in their opinions on that. William Jones says Will Levis, who's a great bounce-back candidate. We could certainly use a bounce-back performance from just generally this football team. This football team has been down tremendous, and you need to see some level of competency, and that is exactly what we're going to find out whether they're capable of in Miami on Monday night.
Injury-wise, only one was Cheeto. He left with a groin, did not return. So we'll see what that looks like next week. At the end of the day, I've not done a good enough job. We're an 0-3 football team. I'm an 0-3 head coach. It's embarrassing and disappointing. I've got to be a lot better than I've been, and this is frustrating and unfortunate and not what I thought we were capable of to start the season. And at the end of the day, can't continue to have turnovers like that on offense, even though, we had 7 more points to another team, and they did a great job possessing the football. We only got 3 possessions in the first half, and we scored on one of them. We threw an interception for a pick 6 on the other, and the other 2 we went 3 and out. And we're not consistent enough anywhere offensively. We allowed too many explosives on defense. We still haven't got a turnover. I think we're probably going to be dead last in the turnover margin by a long shot at this point, and that's going to lose you a lot of football games in the NFL. We're not good enough on either side there. We don't protect it well, we don't take it away. We allowed we had too many yards rushing, we had some tackling issues early, we settled down, and then had to get in a drop back situation at the end of the game in the second half as we didn't find much success on the ground versus a good front, and 8 sacks was a result. So ultimately not.
So that's Brian Callahan after the Packers loss. Titans desperately needed a bounce back. I told Bert earlier this is the 6th time I feel like, even though they've only played 3 games, it's the 6th time I've typed up a must-win graphic. But, like I said, if you go 0-4 heading into a Week 5 bye, I don't know. What are we going to do? Pivot into a Vols show? That's what I'm doing on the radio show right now. Oof. All right. We'll see. Next time we talk, I'll be in Miami. It'll be Sunday night. I'll be down in Miami getting ready for this game on Monday Night Football. So I'll take you guys with me, and we'll talk about this game. We'll talk about keys to success for this football team. Radio show tomorrow. We've got Jarvis Brownlee Jr., the Titans corner, who's going to be starting because Cheeto Awuzie is going on IR this week. They keep saying that, but they haven't put him on IR officially yet, which is interesting to see. But he's going to start Brownlee is going to start for Cheeto. And Coach Mack is also on the radio show. So we will look forward to those things together. Have a great weekend. Enjoy a weekend without Tennessee or Titans football. Hopefully that's relaxing for you. Maybe that's panicky for you because you'll just get the Sunday scaries for your football team to play on Monday night. But, they got to play a football game. They got to win a football game. We'll see if they're capable of doing either of those things at a reasonably high level against Miami. Have a great rest of your night. Have a great weekend. See you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.
Go home! Go home! Go home! You're embarrassing Nashville! Go home!